I'm Larry King, welcoming you to another edition of PACTV Community News.
I'm Kim Mio. This week we take you to a breakfast at Kingston's historical Bradford House.
These are important for us in terms of making operating money to operate the Bradford Homestead.
And to a Japanese tea ceremony in Duxbury.
Today's scroll says, Kumo yu yu, mizu sen sen. The clouds are quiet and the sound of water.
PACTV Community News brings you to a summer science program in Plymouth.
It's a good way to get them into it, get them interested in a hobby that they could potentially make a career out of.
And visits the Pembroke Council on Disabilities office.
I was hearing that people needed equipment, they needed it, and they had nowhere else to go, so I started taking it in.
You'll meet an organization whose mission is to protect whales and dolphins in our local waters and throughout the world.
And even though they've been protected under the Endangered Species Act since the 70s, they still are very vulnerable.
Our local eat segment is back sampling the elegant cuisine at Duxbury's Sun Tavern.
We have a built-in ghost, a very real ghost, and it's all very, very true.
Town Talk this week comes from Kingston. You'll see those stories on this week's edition of PACTV Community News.
Plymouth North High School remains open and active during the summer months. Plymouth Public Schools and Massasoit Community College teamed up this summer to present week-long programs centered around STEM, or science, technology, engineering, and math, to students going into the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. PACTV Community News visited Plymouth North High School and their new state-of-the-art labs to see the program for ourselves.
The STEM program came to be out of a partnership between Massasoit Community College and Plymouth Public Schools to offer STEM programs to students in grades 6 through 8 to get them interested in the science fields. This is the first year we're offering this program in Plymouth Public Schools. It's a pilot program where we are partnering again with Plymouth Public Schools grades 6 through 8 at the Plymouth North High School. The STEM initiative is kind of a push from the Connect group, which is a collaboration of the community colleges and some of the state schools in Massachusetts to begin to spark interests for younger kids in secondary and elementary age levels to get interested in the science, technology, engineering, and math fields for higher enrollment in the college level and again in the job market.
My name is Amit Gulati. I'm the lead instructor for this summer program at Plymouth North High School. I'm also an adjunct faculty for community colleges, Massasoit Community College, Quincy College, and Stonehill for now. Okay. So STEM standing for science, technology, engineering, and maths. So that encompasses all these courses, these subjects, and a lot of experiments. So that will really help kids to get into science, to get motivated, and hopefully their future careers in the science and technology. That's the future.
My name is Carmela Majewski, and I am the co-teacher of the Science Enrichment Program this summer at Plymouth North High School. Well, it is the first year, so it's been a challenge. I know personally I didn't know anything about robotics when we started, so I learned a lot, and I think the kids will too. But you know, it's kind of hard to gauge on how good the kids are at the technology, how quickly they'll put together the robots, you know, what kind of things they're going to come up with. But I think they're going to learn a lot. I think they're going to have fun. It's a good way to get them into it, get them interested in a hobby that they could potentially make a career out of. Well, education is changing an awful lot. You know, we're trying to prepare kids for jobs that don't even exist right now. So, you know, trying to think of things that we can teach the kids that, you know, are applicable to real life. And that's where the world is heading. We're heading towards more robotics, more technology, more science, more engineering. So, you know, you have to change to keep up with the times, or else you're not going to prepare the kids adequately.
Currently, our program is being offered this week on July 15th, where we're working with robotics. We are offering a second week starting August 5th to explore your world around you, learn more about the STEM fields. We're still taking enrollments for the August 5th week. For those who are interested, you can go on the Massasoit website, which is massasoit.mass.edu, under Kids Programs, and there'll be an application for registration if you're interested.
Sunday morning breakfast and other traditions are featured at Kingston's Bradford House. The town's Community Preservation Act funded a recent 2-year restoration of the Bradford House, where the Jones River Village Historical Society and the Kingston Cultural Council provide a delicious Sunday morning breakfast, plus offer house tours, exhibits about Kingston's maritime history, art shows, and an ongoing silent auction that benefits the society. PACTV Community News attended a recent breakfast.
So what's going on today is that we're in the midst of our annual summer breakfast season at the Bradford Homestead. These breakfasts have been going on for a number of years. We are in our third breakfast, which is hosted by the Society's Board of Directors. These are important for us in terms of making operating money to operate the Bradford Homestead. But in addition to the breakfast on every Sunday, we have exhibition in the barn. We have an exhibition of third graders' art in the barn. We have a silent auction. The tours of the Bradford House are given. So this goes on for 8 or 9 consecutive Sundays. We had our opening day, inaugural opening day on the 22nd of June. These breakfasts will continue through the 25th of August. Well, this is the board of directors who is the board of directors of the society, actually. Last week it was hosted by a member of the society and family and friends. Next week it's being hosted by the Kingston Yacht Club. The following week is being hosted by Kingston Cultural Council. The week after that it'll be hosted by yours truly with friends. Following that there'll be a subcommittee of the restoration effort for the catboat that we're doing. And then finally Rockland Trust is the final host. Normally the society will supply things like eggs, pancake mix, the juices, the coffee, and all that stuff. Usually on every breakfast there's fresh fruit. The host will supply the meat, be it sausage or sausage links, sausage patties, ham or bacon, and then the hosts will supply breakfast breads. We also have a number of people who sign up as volunteers for our society who will bake breakfast breads, muffins, things like that, and bring them up. So that's basically what it consists of. But there's a basic standard breakfast, but then people will add things to it. We now know that the Bradford House was built, the left-hand side, the earlier side, was constructed in 1714. And we know that because we had what's called a dendrochronology done, which is a tree ring study where they go in and take out bores of wood and send them off to a laboratory in England and compare them to samples. So we know that the timbers that were used in that part of the house were actually felled in 1714. The larger right-hand side of the house was added in 1750, a more formal section, and then at that time there was a central staircase put in and a large kitchen in the back.
Duxbury's Art Complex Museum offers many diverse programs during the summer, and among them is their Japanese tea ceremony. Conducted in one of the very few tea huts in New England called Shofan, or Wind in the Pines, Tea Master Glenn Soray Pereira presents this traditional Japanese tea ceremony with utensils that span over 4 centuries. PACTV Community News went there for a closer look.
I'm Charles Weyerhaeuser, the director of the Art Complex Museum in Duxbury, Massachusetts. My parents, particularly my mother, was interested in the tea ceremony. She realized how important it was to the Japanese culture. We are having our second tea of the year performed by Glenn Soray Pereira, our tea master.
I'm a tea practitioner of the Urasenke School of Tea from Kyoto, Japan. The tea ceremony that we know here is actually chado, the way of tea. So it's more than just a ceremony, it's a way of life. Today we will be seeing the final presentation of a full gathering called usucha, thin tea. I will be making a bowl of tea for the guest. In the alcove there's an arrangement of a scroll and flowers. Today's scroll says Kumo Yu Yu Mizu Sen Sen. The clouds are quiet and the sound of water. Today's theme is the beach. The water container has beach plover design on the lid. The sweets are in the shape of a whirlpool. The sweet tray is in the shape of a clamshell. The hanging boat in the alcove reminds us also of the beach and the ocean, and that's where the flower arrangement is set.
The name of the tea hut is Shofu On, and it means roughly wind in the pines. And when they are boiling the water, it has a very soft sound, and it reminds people of the wind blowing through the pines.
So we have a saying in Japanese that they call ichigo ichie, one time, one moment. So the host and the guest experiencing a time and a moment in that time that cannot be replicated at any other time in their life.
Pembroke's Commission on Disabilities, a volunteer group dedicated to helping physically challenged town residents, provides services that include transportation to medical appointments and to shopping, plus helps to facilitate improvements for handicapped accessibility. The Commission also offers free equipment to assist the physically challenged in that community. PACTV Community News stopped by their local office.
What I do here is I take in and I give away medical equipment. Anything from shower chairs to wheelchairs, walkers, canes, crutches. The Commission also takes in donations of used eyeglasses, hearing aids. We can take in donations of TTY telephone equipment. What this is, it's called a sit-down walker, all right? Let me just open it up for you. But if you want to stop it, you just have to lean on the handles, and that will stop the walker. All right. They can use it for a long-term or a short-term basis. If they need it for a permanent, if they need it permanently, they can just keep it. Keep it outright. There is no price tag. It's all free. It's just here for the taking. I set it up myself. I just started doing it myself. Because I was hearing that people needed equipment, they needed it, and they had nowhere else to go, so I started taking it in. I've heard some stories that, people are very grateful for what I do, and then I've heard stories where, people have nowhere else to go to get the equipment they need, and they find out through friends, family, kind of through the grapevine that the Commission's here, and that the Commission gives away the medical equipment. You have to live in Pembroke in order to get the medical equipment. Some days it might be one person, some days it might be 3 or 4 people, It just varies, So I just try to help out as many people as I can, for the time that I'm here. It's brand new, it's in the box, never been used. So if you need it, please come on down any Monday or Wednesday from 10 to 2, and again, everything's free. I like it, I enjoy it. If the Commission is always looking for volunteers, so if you want to volunteer for a good cause, you can always go to the Selectman's office and pick up an application, and then just fill it out and return it to the Selectman's office.
Hi, I'm Kim Mia. We're here with PCN's Local Eat segment, and today we're at Sun Tavern in Duxbury, and we're very excited to be here. Larry, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's a great place to be. It's a wonderful restaurant, and it's haunted, too.
Let's go inside and see what we can find.
The building itself has been here since 1741. It was a home until 1934 when it became a restaurant. It's been a restaurant since. So it started off as Mary Hackett's, became Fiddler's Green. It was a chart house for a while, Goose Summer, and then the Sun Tavern in '87. It's been the Sun Tavern since. I bought the restaurant in 1996. I sold it in 2001, and I watched it stay closed for a while, and I couldn't let it stay closed. I ended up coming back here, but I couldn't let it stay closed. It's too magnificent a property to leave closed. We have a philosophy in this restaurant that's pretty simple. The answer is yes, now tell us the question. We want our guests to leave happy, and we'll do anything to make that happen. We sell a lot of steak, a lot of beef, and a lot of fish. We get our fish delivered 6 days a week. We're open 6, we get it delivered 6 days a week. So it's from boat to the restaurant. That's unheard of. And we do that because we can tell our guests what they're eating, where the fish came from, who's the captain, what's the name of the boat, and when it came in. That's pretty incredible.
What we have here for you is a sea scallop special that we have. They are pan-roasted local sea scallops. We actually got them in this morning. They're out of Sandwich. And they are in a potato nest with a smoky bacon cream sauce.
I love the sweetness of the scallops, but also the oil that are cooked in adds a little character to it.
They just melt in your mouth. Incredible.
We really pride ourselves on beef. The beef I buy is the same beef that the best steakhouses in Boston buy. I know the cattle, where it came from, I know the cattle ranch that it came from, and everything is cut to our order and aged to our specs. Our beef is second to none on the South Shore.
So the first entree I've prepared for you here is our grilled barrel cut filet mignon. And the barrel cut means that there are only about 4 cuts from each tenderloin. That means that they're uniform in size and in shape. So all of our steaks will look the same, no matter when you come in. And this is grilled, served on a crispy blue cheese potato cake with a red wine gastrique. Now, the next dish I prepared for you is our salmon del sol. It is new to our menu. It's a grilled salmon with a house-made barbecue sauce. And this is served with a black bean salad and a spicy jicama slaw. And the third and final dish, this is a crispy pan-roasted all-natural chicken. This is also new to our menu, and it is served with rosemary roasted potatoes and a grilled lemon, and the sauce is just the natural pan juices.
We have a built-in ghost, a very real ghost, and it's all very, very true. Lysander Walker was the last homeowner of the building. His wife, Mary, died in 1928. He was so distraught that Mary was no longer with him, he killed himself. We believe that Lysander is walking the property. I also believe Mary is walking the property. We have women that come down from the ladies' room, and I think that's Mary, that say they were looking in the mirror, and there's a woman behind her. Every night someone comes down from the ladies' room and says, there's something going on up there. And this is all true because I hear it every night.
Hey Kim, I speak for both of us. I think I had a really great time here at the Sun Tavern on Route 14 in Duxbury. What do you think?
Oh, I had such a great time. We want to thank so much to our hosts, Larry Friedman and Laura, and especially thanks to Chef Gary. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on PCN's Local Eats.
My name is Nancy Howlett. Over the past year, I've been serving as Kingston's acting town administrator. I'm happy to report that the Board of Selectmen, after a very long search and interview process, hired Robert Fennessy. Mr. Fennessy is an attorney, and he's also been a selectman in the town of Plainville for 18 years. Both his municipal law experience and his experience as a selectman should prove to be very beneficial to the town of Kingston as we move forward. Mr. Fennessy will be starting immediately, and the Board of Selectmen is having a meet and greet with him on August 13th prior to his first meeting at 6 p.m. in room 200. I encourage you all to come out and meet Mr. Fennessy and welcome him to the town of Kingston. You may reach him at the Board of Selectmen's office at 781-585-0500, or you may send him an email at rfennessy@kingstonmass.org. There's also a link on the town's website, www.kingstonmass.org. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank some people who have helped me over the past year. There's been a lot of work. It's been a very busy year. Without their assistance, would have been extremely hard to get everything done. Priscilla Brackett from the Veterans Office assisted me with some procurement matters, and Lynn Cook from the Selectman's Office attended the meetings and did the minutes. Their help was invaluable to me. Also, department heads have been very supportive over the past year, and I'd like to particularly recognize Paul Armstrong, the building inspector, Paul Basler, the highway superintendent, and town accountant Joan Paquette. They were a constant resource and a good sounding board over the past year, and I know they'll do the same for Mr. Fennessy moving forward. Lastly, I would like to thank the Board of Selectmen for Dick Arruda, Susan Munford, Sandra McFarlane, and former Selectmen Joe Kasna and Ron Gleason for the confidence that they showed in me a year ago after a very difficult, rocky time here in Kingston. Their confidence every day gave me the confidence I needed to do both my other job as the assistant to the town administrator and to do the acting town administrator job. PACTV has been very nice in giving me the opportunity to do this today, and I've done a few spots over the past year. And I'd like to thank Kim Mayo for making me feel very comfortable behind the camera and showing me the ropes. Thank you. Have a good day.
Plymouth is one of the best places to view whales along the East Coast. Many varieties of these magnificent marine mammals live right along our coastal waters. Plymouth is also home to one of the world's most active organizations dedicated to the conservation and welfare of whales, dolphins, and porpoises. WDC, or the Whale and Dolphin Conservation, maintain offices on Nelson Street in Plymouth, and PACTV Community News stopped in to meet the staff and learn more about their work.
We are, how do I say this modestly, we're Plymouth's best kept secret, maybe New England's best kept secret. We're the leading global charity that works to eradicate the threats that whales and dolphins face around the world, and our headquarters for the U.S. is right here in Plymouth, Mass. Our waters are home to 11 species of whales, and we often see North Atlantic right whales. We also often see the Gulf of Maine humpback whale population, which is the most studied population in the U.S. The top 3 threats that we see here in Cape Cod Bay are the same as they are around the world. Man is the greatest threat to whales, and the 3 biggest impacts are vessel strikes, entanglement in fishing gear, and habitat degradation.
WDC worldwide does a lot of work to advocate and influence policy for the protection of whales and dolphins. And here in North America, we are currently focused on a campaign to increase protections for the North Atlantic right whale. We actually get to see them right here in Cape Cod, which is not a normal thing. There are fewer than 500 of them left in the world. So to be able to watch them from our backyards is a pretty spectacular thing. The sad part of the story is that they have been on the brink of extinction for almost a century because of humans. And even though they've been protected under the Endangered Species Act since the 70s, they still are very vulnerable.
Personally, one of the major motivators for me to work with whales is the fact that they have such a strong sense of community. They have such strong family bonds, and that they work in social environments together. They teach their young, and they raise their young, and they stay in family groups for quite some time. They interact with each other socially and specifically for different populations, and they learn and adapt and share with each other. And so the sense of community that I see in whale populations is undeniable.
We're actually able to identify individual animals within that population, and a lot of them actually have names. We have a catalog of over 2,500 individual whales that have been identified since 1976, the first of which was Salt, and we actually have a family tree for her. We've been able to track her family history, her lineage. We know that she's had 12 calves, and a couple of her calves have also had calves as well, so Salt is a grandmother. We're able to learn a lot about these individuals when we can identify them separately. Just like humans, with our fingerprints, everyone is a little bit different, and that's the same for these humpback whales. The pattern on the underside of their tail fluke is different for each individual whale.
The reasons why whales are very important to us are numerous. Whales help keep the health of the ocean where it needs to be, and most people aren't aware of the fact that our oceans are the lungs of the world. So over 90% of the oxygen that is created by our open oceans, and the activities and byproducts of the whales here in Cape Cod Bay as well as around the world are what really help to contribute to that environmental healthy balance.
Our office here has had an intern program since 2007 where we've had not only local interns but also national and international interns. These interns will spend about 3 months of their time with us, usually during the summer. That's our peak field season here. And during that time, they're working on a variety of different aspects related to whale conservation. So the interns that we have spend a lot of time working on the local whale watch boats. We work in partnership with them, and the interns are able to collect data on the whales that we're seeing. They're taking photos of those whales as well to identify both different species and individual whales. In addition to their time on the boat, they also are responsible for uploading their data into our database so that we can actually use that information to influence policy changes and increase protections for these whale populations that we have off our coast here.
We're always working to end captivity, to end whaling, to enhance the research and conservation here in the US and around the world, and just in general, help make sure that everyone knows as much as possible about the different threats that face the animals in the ocean.
We know what is causing the problems, and we know that we can make a big difference. Obviously, the more people that are involved, the better. So this campaign is focused on getting as many people to realize what these whales are up against and how they can get involved to help.
What we ask folks to do is log on to whales.org to learn a little bit more about the work we do and how they can help. It can be as simple as picking up garbage when you walk the beach, recycling things at home, turning off your energy, or it can be more advanced as participating as a donor or working as an advocate for WDC and just letting your voice be heard as to why you believe that whales should be protected.
Thanks for watching this week's edition of PACTV Community News. Replay times are listed at PACTV.org. Click on the PCN logo to watch each complete edition or individual story.
See us on YouTube by searching for the PACTV Community News channel. Also, like us on Facebook to receive previews each week with links to all our stories.
We're looking ahead for stories about the people, places, organizations, and events in our area for our upcoming fall editions. You're welcome to email your story ideas to kim@pactv.org.
Thanks for watching. Join us next week for more PACTV Community News.